Personalization is a real hot topic at the moment, and doing variable data in metallic when printing onto a foil substrate is something that's not exactly easy to do. So think about this. When you're doing variable data onto a metallic substrate, you're having to create a white ink mask. So as you see on the screen here, everything that's silver is the silver substrate, and all the white area is the white ink mask. So if I change this name here to a different name, let's just mark that in now, let's call it Mark. You can see that the white ink mask had to change. Now, doing this manually, the old-fashioned way, you have to make a manual white ink mask for every single change. So if you had 100 labels you're printing off with 100 different names on, you'd have to make 100 different white ink masks. So what we're going to show you now is the power of color logic. We've created this design here. We're doing this all inside Illustrator, so we're using Adobe Illustrator's variable data fields. Very simple, easy to do. Import your CSV file and then tag the different categories. So let's just quickly show you how this is built up. So in the background we have a variable color box. So this is a color chosen from the color logic swatch book, and it's just a CMYK element part of that. Next we have a variable metallic pattern. So that's one of ours from our pattern effects library. Next we have our static artwork. So this is something that's not going to change. And then let's just switch these back on so you can see the rest. We also have a variable place of birth. That's going to be kind of like a bronze metallic. We have a variable date of birth. That's in a gold foil metallic. Then we have the drink type. And then we have the person's name. Now also to highlight that this text, this has been created using color logic. So inside here we have a key line here. This stroke is our dimensional effect, with a gold, with black framing and another gold frame. So it's not an actual font, it's been stylized using the color logic tools. So what it means is that we can change that to something else later on. So let's just show you how this works. We've already tagged all the files in here, and if anybody wants to know how to do this, we're going to make another video to show you exactly how we created this file. It's very, very quick, very, very easy. So what we're going to do is now cycle through. So as you can see here, the background here, the pattern's changed, the name's changing, the date of birth is all changing, which means the white ink mask is automatically being generated for you when you use color logic. So we're going to cycle through a few here. You can see the pattern changing, but it's not just the pattern that can change. We can change the color, as we said before. So now we've got color changing, we've got variable pattern changing, we've got variable gold text, and we can even go up one step further. We can change the product name. So that product can switch and change depending on what you're actually putting on the press. All done really easy. Now all you have to do once you've generated the file is basically export it. So we're going to export that out now. And if you'll just see down here in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, it's going to go through and generate the files and create the PDF files for us. So that's it. We're done in seconds. All you have to do, use color logic, the color palettes, pattern effects, and Adobe Illustrator's variable data fields. In this how-to video guide, we're going to show you how we created the variable data artwork file for this craft beer label. And it's extremely simple to do. So let's break that down straight away to nice, easy, logical things. So what you need to do is create your individual elements in Illustrator. So what we did here was we created a vector graphic. And let me just demonstrate how we did that. We created a rectangle, and then all I did was I just changed some of the curves on some of the sides here, like this one here. So you get an idea of what we did. We just basically modified the label slightly. Once you've done that, you need to save that file as an Illustrator file. Okay, so let me just open up some of my Illustrator files that I created. I'll just double click it here. So as you can see, it's just a vector graphic that we created. Now the idea is that you then place that file into the Illustrator document. Don't just leave it as a vector here, it's going to be placed like an image. So to do that, go to the File menu, go to Place, find your file, and then put it on your artwork. So if we look at it here, you'll see it's a linked file to that file in our folder. So the easiest thing to do is generate some folders where you want your individual items to keep it nice and simple and logical so you can find them easily. So I've just called them background color, background pattern. Then you've got a CSV file we're going to generate. Ignore the inner pattern, we've placed that as a CMYK. So do that for each of your variable color elements that you want to do. So we chose those from the ColorLogic CMYK swatch palette, which is the colors that make up the colors in your artwork. Next, what we need to do is do the same thing, but this time do it for patterns. So again, we created a box, the same size, and we applied one of our patterns to it. The patterns that we chose here are the dimensional effect patterns. So if you go to any of these flyout ones, just type in DIM for dimensional. And again, just to show you how that works, let's just open one of them up. So it's just a vector element, and all we did was we just basically gave it a pattern from our dimensional. So the dimensional basically is going to overprint the color, and all the little white areas is going to be the white ink mask. Really simple, really easy to do. So just generate your patterns. Next, create your 4-color artwork that's going to go on the top. So this was just a static piece of artwork. We've got some text in there, just things that are not going to change. This pattern, by the way, we created using some different techniques. It's all done inside Illustrator. So we used the mosaic tiles feature, which is from the effect menu, went down to effects gallery, and then just applied a mosaic tile pattern. Let's just show you how it also works. If we turn that off, we have a color layer as well. So that is all we're doing, is applying different techniques, all built inside Illustrator. And we always try and do this so you don't have to spend any more money doing anything extra crazy, no variable data software needed. You can do all of this with the tools that Adobe is providing you. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to add in a place of birth. So again, this is just some text, and all you do is basically set your text, then go to our color library, which is our graphic style library. These are the pre-made metallic colors. So just to show it changing, put it to like number 40. So you can see over here in our appearance box that it's got the color with the color logic separation pre-built into it. And the great thing about that is it's now text that can be edited but still in metallic. Do the same thing for the date of birth, but chose a different color. And then the beer one, this is where it gets a little bit more tricky, is that this style has to be created because there is no font that has dimensional effect built into it. But again, it's really simple and easy to do. All you have to do is build up your individual layers. We did offsetting paths in here. We put the silver overprinting. We put an inner stroke, which is offset again. So we're basically building a style up, which can then be changed as a font. So now we have this really cool looking font, which I could call it anything I want. It could be vodka, and it resets it all automatically for you. So that is what we've done. The last one we put on was the person's name. Again, that's in a stylized font. We then also went in and changed some of the settings inside that appearance as well. We gave it a black drop shadow pre-built into the actual design. Let me just open this up. So in here we did a transform function. That transform function, we did it with 30 copies. Now to do that, it's not going to this transform button here. It's actually going to the effect menu. Let's just go out and show you that. Distort and transform, and then into the transform button. What that allows you to do, let's just apply another effect, is you can go in here and you can just tell it how much to offset by, and then how many copies, and that's what created this black drop shadow. So great easy way to be able to do that so it's still variable. And that way you don't have to have multiple fields for variable data. It's all pre-built into it as you're designing. Okay, let's pin that back in here. So that is all you have to do for your artwork file. Once you've got your artwork file ready to roll, what we're going to do now is make a CSV file. So that CSV file is going to be your data file that you're going to be using to import the data. So all you have to do is create some fields. So I've created one for the name, and then you put in people's names, how you want it to be spelt. I've put in one called booze, which is my variable data field for the type of label that's been created, date of birth, and obviously you just set these how you want them to appear, whether it's in uppercase, lowercase, etc. Now when it comes to putting an image, you have to put a prefix of the @ symbol before this heading. That indicates, it says that is an image rather than it being a font. And that's all you have to do. Then just put it direction to where it's stored in your computer. So on this instance, you go to the mine's on my users, color logic, desktop, variable data fields, and then put in the name of the file it's going to swap out with. Now to get to that, there is a shortcut you can do inside the Mac. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll try and find it and share it on this video. But basically it will then give you the file location, but you can find it down here as well in the path. Down here it'll say users, color logic, desktop, but there is a shortcut that you can copy that information. Okay, so once you've done that, put all that data inside here. So as you can see here, each one of these I gave, in this instant here, it's got same colors being used, depending on what people are choosing, obviously, and then you basically set your variable data for that, and then the patterns. All you then do is save that as a CSV file. So I went to download, saved it as a CSV file. I'm working inside Google Sheets here, but it works just the same in Excel. All it is a normal standard CSV file. So now let's go back in and build that file inside Illustrator. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to basically click on an element. So I want this one here, for better import my file first. So click on the import button. So you need to be inside variables. So go to Window, Variables, click on Import, find your variable data file that you've just created. That will bring in all those fields. So then all we do is click on the name, click on name, and then click on the little bound box here. This means link the two together. The next one here means whether to show it or not, but we're not going to bother with doing that. And you can break links and add things and delete things, but all we're concentrating on is this one here. So we've done that one. Beer, that goes to the booze, link it. Date of birth, link that one. Place of birth, click on the background pattern. So that's going to be background pattern, link that one. Let me switch that off so I can get to my color layer. That's going to be my color. So now that I've done that, go to the data set. So the data set is basically the content that you've created in your CSV file. So that data set 1 is the first person's name and the second person's name. So I'm just going to click on data set 1, so that pulls in my information from the CSV file, and then click this little button, then you can cycle through, and that's how you can see all the names changing, picked up with that data from inside. Then the color's going to start changing because I switched the colors up, and then right at the end I changed beer into wine. So nice little trick. So that is what we do. Really simple and easy. Now the even easier thing to do is to be able to get this all exported. Is all you have to do is create an action set. So this is just a simple save as action set. So I did I basically went into File, Save As, save it as a PDF with your specific PDF settings, and then all you have to do is basically run it as a batch command. So just click on the action, click on batch, and then all we're doing here is at the source file, we're changing it from folder to dataset. That picks in the dataset that we've been working with. Choose your folder where you're going to save your files to, like I've done there, and then just basically output it. You can change it with file name and dataset name and whatever else you want to do. Click on OK. It'll then start going through, generating those files for you and creating those labels. So a really quick and easy way to be able to do variable data in metallic when printing onto metallic substrates using a white ink mask. So go and beyond what you can do with normal printing, wow everybody else, and start picking up new business ideas. Do things that nobody else is doing. No one's doing this at the moment. We keep telling people variable data in metallic, on metallic substrates with white ink masking. Try and do it, but so far we've yet to see anybody. So love to see your work. If you do, please contact us at support@color-logic.com or send us your samples. Printed samples as well, and we can even do little press releases and marketing information if they're worthy. Good luck. Let us see what you're up to. Have a great day.